Hey, it's Christina Scalera from the Contract Shop, and today we're talking about why you actually should add, change, and update your contracts pretty frequently, and I'm here to help you do that. If you regularly work with your clients, you are often going to notice things that they do that you like, that you don't like, boundaries that you want to have in place. And starting with a solid foundation, such as one of our contract templates, can really help you out there. It can define what makes a good boundary if you maybe don't have the best boundaries. And it can show you and your client how you can effectively work together. But that doesn't mean that it should stay static. In fact, as I'm recording this, it's 2020 and everybody knows what happened this year. Coronavirus hit people in a really hard way. Now, fortunately, our contract templates had considered something like a global pandemic. Did we know that coronavirus was going to hit and destroy our lives as we knew it? No, I don't have that kind of power or knowledge, and I'm really glad I don't. But we knew that something like that could be a possibility at some point in the future. And so that's what we wrote into our templates. Now, as people are starting to go back to work, as they're starting to work with their clients in person again, they need additional layers of support and protection. That's why we created freecontractnow.com, by the way, which is a free contract. It's exactly what it sounds like. And this is a contract that you can use with your clients as you start to see them back in person. So it's a sort of liability waiver that they're able to sign, and you can review, make sure it meets all your needs, and hand that off to the client so that both you and the client can not just feel protected from each other, but also understand the risks involved and that you're accepting them. So you can really protect your business well. So that's at freecontractnow.com. Here's some ways that you know it's time to update your contract and when you should be reconsidering those updates. I like to review my contracts with clients at this point at least once a year. For the contract templates in our shop, you can rest assured we are reviewing those constantly. So anytime that we see any kind of feedback or improvement, and now we've had over 6,000 or 7,000, we might be at 7,000 now, downloads of our products, that you have all of that feedback in the background working for you. Unlike where you might hire an attorney to create a contract for you, and this is why I'm not a huge fan of this, unlike that situation, you only get to build the wheel once, and you really hope that wheel works, because if it doesn't, that's the only one that you have. However, in our case, our wheel has been tried and road tested. It's been around the world at this point with over 6,000 sales. So we have a lot of feedback and improvements and revisions and boundaries and things like that that we've added to each document to make sure that you and your clients are working well together. So if you do have one of ours, then you're fine. We're reviewing that constantly. If we do have any updates based on changing industry standards or laws, we do regularly push those out to our customers, so they're safe and sound. However, if you don't have one of our templates, maybe you already started with something else, no worries. Make sure that you are making it a priority to check your contract at least once a year with a fine-tooth comb. And personally, maybe it's just because I like to nerd out about legal stuff, I like to go through my contracts usually about every 2 to 3 clients that I work with, just to make sure the language is as tight as it can be, that I'm actually having every little tiny detail conveyed. Now, I don't think that's normal or typical, so you don't have to feel like you have to do that every single time. But as I was getting started, I thought this was a great practice to have in place, where I would literally read my client contract, just give it a quick once over before I send it off to any particular client. And that's how I really helped to hone and tone my contracts into the place where I wanted them to be as I worked with clients. Don't worry, that's all in ours now too. I've taken those years and years of experience and added that into our client contract templates. But if you don't have that, or you don't have our contract template, you will just have to do that on your own, which isn't the worst thing in the world, because it means you're really understanding your arrangement with your client and what is expected of them and what your responsibilities are in this client service arrangement. Some key takeaways today: make sure that you're actually reading your client contracts on a semi-regular basis, even if that's just once a year. If you don't want to write your own client contract template, or you would like our updates and all the bonuses that come with our contract templates, including the K Club that gives you access to behind the scenes, it gives you access to your individual provisions so that if a client has a question about what is in your contract, you can go to the K-Club, watch the short tutorial about that provision, and go back to your client and talk to them in a very educated, professional way instead of being like, well, I don't know what my contract says. That wouldn't be very good. And the third takeaway today is that in today's changing business environment, especially with coronavirus, it's important to look at extra additional considerations that may have popped up after you signed a contract with a client, such as working with them again in real life in the midst of a global pandemic. If you do want help with that, go to Free Contract Now, and you can pick up your free liability waiver that you can use to get back to work. If you enjoy this video, make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things, follow me on Instagram @TheContractShop, and I will see you in our next one. Have a great week, everyone.